And our first one up here today is talking about the glory and the tragedy of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey, John and crew, it's Zach, the bartender from Ohio, calling about Dungeons and Dragons. I just saw that it made about $126 million worldwide on a $150 million budget, and that is just sad because that has been one of the best movies of the year, honestly. Felt like the script was well done, the acting and everybody did a really good job together, and I was just wondering, will there ever be an opportunity for them to make a sequel? Because that was a great movie. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for taking my question, and don't have a good day. Have a great one.
Always love a little guy.
Little free guy.
Free guy reference in there. All right. Yeah. So, let's talk about this. It's always, to me, incredibly sad when, well, first of all, it's always sad when any movie kind of tanks, even if it's a bad movie. There's a real sad and unfortunate part of that, because regardless of what you think about a movie, there are hundreds of people, sometimes thousands, that poured their blood, sweat, tears, passion, creativity for 1, 2, 3 years into getting a movie made and put out. And it's always sad when it fails, even if it fails because it's not a good movie. It's particularly tragic to me when a great movie, not a good movie, a great movie tanks. And Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves is one of those. It is a great movie that absolutely has tanked. Now, there's no real surprise about it tanking. When they announced this movie, all of us on our show and a lot of other people expressed that this movie doesn't really, it's interesting that they chose to make this movie because there's not really a path to victory for it. Like everybody kind of knew. We on this show, people who watch this show, other people do other shows. We all kind of knew when they first announced this movie, this is not going to financially succeed. Now, maybe it'll be a good movie. We hope it will be. But the stench of the original one is still out there. While Dungeons and Dragons as a game is certainly growing in popularity, of course, you have the Netflix thing and all that kind of stuff. I just don't see how a movie succeeds. And pretty much everybody kind of felt that way. And I hope that the studio knew that too. I hope that the studio knew in making this movie that they better not be looking for quick financial returns on the first film. That I hope Universal's, wait, was Universal Paramount?
I
thought it was Universal. Maybe it was Paramount. No, you know what? It was Paramount.
It's Paramount for
Paramount.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah. It's Paramount. I hope what Paramount's plan was, hey, we know the first one's going to take a hit, but the idea is we're rebuilding the brand. So put out a good movie, a great movie, get people enjoying it, and then hopefully we can do a sequel and a third film and build on the success, the quality success of that. Because if Paramount went into Dungeons and Dragons just thinking, we're going to make $500 million, then you're probably not great at your job if you thought that. But if the plan was, hey, we're going to need the first movie to take a hit, but we need it to take a hit with people really enjoying it and word of mouth getting out about it. Because it's going to have to be a long game play. It's got to be a long gameplay. It can't be a short gameplay. Now, of course, as we go over and take a look here at the actual financial results of the movie, the caller is right. This is the type of number, a movie that cost $150 million to make. This is the kind of number, $127 million, that you want to make on opening weekend. That you're looking to make that on opening. You're hoping to make somewhere close to that on opening weekend. Of course, it doesn't have a bad opening weekend. It made almost $40 million opening weekend, $37 million opening weekend. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's fine, but it just was not able to build a ton of momentum after that, and it's going to end up costing the studio a lot of money. Despite the fact, look at these numbers. 91% critic rating, 93% audience rating. I mean, the critics loved it. The fans who saw it, the people who saw the movie, loved it. And it's a delightful, delightful film. So I am hoping that the story of Dungeons and Dragons is not over. You're asking in the question there, what are the chances that we get the sequel? It can get a sequel if Paramount's plan from the beginning was understanding this first movie was going to struggle to make money, and that they were hoping to rebuild and rehabilitate the brand for future success. If that was their plan for the beginning and they had that kind of foresight and they're laying the groundwork, then we're going to get a sequel. And that sequel hopefully will make $350 million or $400 million or whatever. The hope is it could follow like a John Wick kind of trajectory, where the first one, man, it's all right, but the second and the third one and the fourth one, that's the hope. That's hope. But if their plan was, I bet Dungeons and Dragons movie will be a big hit today, well, then they've already buried this thing. So that's the hope. Anyway, Chris, you saw the numbers that are coming in here, the financial returns for it, the critic and the audience things. These two numbers do not go together. That kind of critic and audience response with that kind of box office. What do you think the chances here are that we could see a Dungeons and Dragons sequel?
Well, first I was trying to check. Is it already on streaming?
I don't think so.
Been dumped? Okay. Because I think that could also give it a second life of seeing how well it does on a streaming platform on Paramount Plus. Because we saw that with Sonic too. Sonic did fairly well in theaters, but also had a really big boom just because of being on streaming, and a lot of people fell in love with it that way. I do think there's a lot of potential for this to continue on. So many people, and we've talked about this before, so many people just kept asking me, am I going to like this movie or understand it because I haven't played D&D?
Yes.
Like my dad kept asking me and Logan about that. I had a couple of friends be like, hey, can you just give me the basics of it before I go see this movie? Because I don't think I'm going to get it otherwise. This isn't rocket science, you guys. It's a tabletop campaign that this is based off of. It's an adventure quest. If you've ever read a book, heard a story, seen anything, you'll understand it.
Yeah.
There's
me out.
Sorry, John. There's just certain little, Easter eggs that you don't get then, right? So I think that was the biggest hurdle they had to overcome. So I'm hoping all of the word of mouth here of how great this is, how fun this is. Oh, hi, bud. This guy, there's our sequel.
This guy's great.
But I think the more word of mouth, though, that's been positive about this, that gets around, more people are going to be more excited about a second movie. And even though most of the threads here are tied up, you treat it like a regular D&D campaign. You go on a new quest, you start a new campaign, you roll new characters even potentially. It'd be hilarious to have some of these actors just play entirely new characters like you do when you're playing D&D. Of just like, all right, I'm going to put these dice up. I've retired this character. Now let's have this one over here. There's a lot of potential here for them to mine. So I really, really hope they get to do it.
You did bring up another great obstacle that the film had, which was, the stink of the first one, all that. But yeah, there was probably a lot of the general movie going audience who thought, well, I've never played D&D, so I probably won't get the movie. What was really encouraging about this movie was all the feedback I heard from audience members who wrote in to me to say, I've never played D&D in my life, and I love this movie.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think there were probably a lot of people that were intimidated about going to see it. Like if you did a Settlers of Catan movie,
Buh.
first of all, everybody will be fighting when they walk out of the theater.
How to lose friends and alienate people. Settlers of Catan.
We have had on the show before, my friend was on the show who's a member of IATSE, Spencer. We had him on when the IATSE negotiations were going on. Some of you will remember that. He's a Hollywood production designer. His wife also works in the industry. Ann and I just went out with them last weekend, and they were the first ones to introduce us to Settlers of Catan. And we were like, oh, hey, when we go away this weekend, should we bring along Settlers of Catan? And they just looked at us like, we can no longer play that game together. It's like, yeah, I think that's a pretty standard story amongst people.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it'll divide houses. It'll divide houses.
I do wish they would have just called it Honor Among Thieves, a Dungeons and Dragons adventure.
Yeah.
Like in small print, Dungeons and Dragons adventure.
I mean, I get it.
That wouldn't have, I'm not saying that would have made millions, but it just would have taken that and flipped it.
Maybe, but what I will say to that is, if their plan, and I don't know that this was their plan, if their plan was to rehabilitate the image of the IP, then
They did it.
You got to put the IP out front and center.
Yeah.
If the goal is to rehabilitate and rebuild the image of the IP, you put that out front and center, even if it means taking a little bit of hit. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. Guys, question is for you. What do you think of this? Did you enjoy the Dungeons and Dragons movie? According to the box office numbers, a lot of you didn't even see it. Do you think they could do a sequel? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.